Better Than Yesterday, where what? Growth and comfort do not coexist. So welcome back to episode 2. And today, if you look at the title, we are getting into the process of buying a home. Now, it might sound so tedious, like, oh my gosh, do I really want to hear about buying a house? But what does this have to do with growth? Well, for me, all my life, I really wanted an apartment. That's it. Like, I just wanted my own space, one level, I got my bathroom, my closet, like, just the simplicity of it all. And then along the way, I hear people say, it's really better for you to buy a house. Why are you wasting money on renting? That doesn't make any sense. First of all, in later videos, we are going to get into the pros and cons and buying a home versus renting an apartment and put them against each other. Really, it's whatever is best for you. And if you follow me on Instagram at Frugal Frazier, which is one of my many pages, you will see that I explained that a house is a liability. It is not an asset at all. Now, granted, you can use your house as leverage to make money if you do Airbnb, if you rent it out, things like that. But aside from that, it's a liability. It's something that you have to pay for. It's something that you're liable for. Unless your house is paid off in full and there's no lien holder, meaning you don't owe the bank no money. That is your money. You ain't got no more mortgage. There's still other things you have to pay for, like property taxes, homeowner insurance, things like that, blah, blah, blah. But this is not what this video is about. We are going to talk about the process of buying a home. Like, where do you even start? What happens? So if you are interested in this video and you want to know more, stay. Before you go and waste anybody's time, my suggestion to you would be to get a pre-approval. So I suggest you go to a credit union because credit unions are more member-based. They want to cater to your needs. They want to make sure you're taken care of. And really, they have the lowest interest rates, which means you're paying less money over time. But hey, another video, you might want to talk to your bank or credit union about it, compare interest rate, prices, things like that. But that's my little insider tip for you. Make sure you're actually in a position to buy a home. Do you have the right credit score? Do you have your right debt to income ratio? Can you even afford to buy a home? Like, that's what you want to figure out first before you go waste anybody's time, because that's just like going to a car dealership. You with the salesman trying out all these cars, knowing goodness well you ain't got the cash for it, and you definitely ain't got no loan for it. And then they at the end like, oh, are you interested? Oh, well, I was just looking. You done wasted somebody's time when they could have went and made a sale somewhere else. Hey, so first things first, you are going to want to get a realtor after you do the whole process of pre-approval, learning about buying a home, things like that. Your realtor is going to be your best friend. They're going to help you through the whole transaction process. There is so much paperwork involved. There's a lot of legalities with buying a house. It's a whole process. It's not like an apartment where you can go say, oh, this apartment is cute. Let me get my little renter's insurance. Oh, let me get my down payment or deposit. I'm sorry. Let me get first month's rent, sign a little document, hand me my key, and you're off in 1 or 2 days. It's not like that. This is weeks process. Like, this can take a month for you to even buy a house. Average person looks at 15 homes before they even get the home that they want. So think about that. All I know is this is an accurate depiction. You'll be like, okay, so it all says this. Sign here. And sign here. Yep, I need you to sign here too. And right here at the top. Right here. And you're like, dang. It's like, and sign here. Yep, we're going to take care of that. And then you're going to sign right here. I mean, you get the point. I would spend hours doing this because that's what it is, paperwork. Once you get to a point where, okay, cool, this is the house that I want. You done talk to the seller, you and the seller came up with an agreement on this is what the price is going to be. And at that point, there's a sales contract that you're going to sign. So the sales contract is basically saying, hey, this is my price. This is what I'm asking for. You're going to sign off on it. And the seller is going to sign off on it. They're like, hey, this is the price I'm telling you. You're like, hey, I agree to this price. I like that. That's what that's going to be. You're going to have to pay an earnest deposit or earnest money. So what that is, it's a deposit. Basically, most times it's 3% of the total amount of the house. So if you're getting a house that's $200,000, then you're going to pay 3% of that, which is $6,000. Now, you're not going to give it directly to the seller because we don't trust them. We don't know them like that. And they're going to try to run off with your money. So that's when a third party comes in called the escrow company. So the escrow company, they're going to hold all the paperwork for you. This is a third party neutral company. They ain't got nothing to do with you. And they ain't got nothing to do with the seller. They just neutral. They just holding the money and they holding the paperwork. It's kind of like, I don't know how eBay works, but I think it's kind of like eBay, where it's like the money doesn't get released to the seller until the buyer receives the product. So something to, it works like that, if that's how eBay works. I know some companies work like that. But yeah, that's how it pretty much is. So they're going to hold the earnest money. So earnest money is not your down payment. That's just like a security deposit. Like, hey, look, I'm serious about buying this house. Like, here's the money. Here's your 3%. Like, let's move forward. So while the escrow company is holding the money and they're holding the paperwork that you signed so far, now this is the time where the inspection has to be done, the physical inspection. So you want to hire an inspector. So escrow company go get their money, the seller's going to get their money, the realtor's going to get their money, the inspector's going to get their money. It's a lot of people that got to get paid in this process. So the inspector, they're going to go, look at any defects, any cracks, any, molding, I don't know, flooding, or if the water's drinkable. It's so many things that have to be looked at, and I could talk about that in another video too. But the inspector, that's your go-to, that's going to make sure everything up in here right. And if it ain't right, then you might not want to proceed, or you might demand that the seller get these things fixed before you think that you about to be up in that house. No, we're not about to get in there and then I'm not coming in this house to do damage control. Aside from the physical inspection, you want to get a title inspection. So a title on a home is just like a title on a car. It represents the ownership, who owns it. So title inspection. The reason why you want to get the title inspected is because Lord, if you go and buy this house and realize that you are not the sole owner of this place, aside from you and the bank that you got, the money from, if somebody else owns this house, like, you might buy a house and your neighbor actually owns your backyard, or there was construction done on the house and the person that previously owned the house, they still owed the construction company some money, so they now have a lien on that property, because it's like, oh yeah, I own your roof until you pay me the money back. Like, you don't want to be in a position where something comes up and somebody can knock on your front door and say, hey, I own this too. So that title inspection is going to make sure that it's owned free and clear. Ain't nobody else on here, because you don't want to get up in that house and start owning somebody. Everything's public record. So once you buy a house, best believe me, I can look you up. And I don't even want to say that because I don't want y'all going to be creepy, start looking for people, but it's definitely a public record. You're buying property. So keep that in. So let's kind of backtrack. So you got the pre-approval. You've now, come up with an agreement in regard to the price. You didn't put up the earnest money, which, let me tell y'all, if for some reason this transaction don't go right, you can get that earnest money back. Believe me, you can get that back. And then, the escrow company's holding the stuff while you're getting your inspection. Inspection's done, the title's done, and now it's time to actually fund it. Now the bank comes through or whatever. And at the end of this, you're going to go to closing. So closing is a meeting between you, the seller, and the escrow company who was holding all this stuff for you, or a law firm. There is, as I was saying in the beginning, paper sign here, and sign here, and sign here, and sign here, and sign here. Like, it's so many words on that thing. Like, I don't believe you're really going to read all that, but the person that's assisting you with signing the documents, they're going to say, well, when you sign this, so this is basically saying blah, 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 and you sign. It's such a long process, honestly, but it has to be a long process because you are transferring ownership. So the person that's selling it to you, they're giving over the rights. Hey, this person bought this from me. I no longer own the home. And now we got to transfer it over to the bank that you're borrowing money from into you. So that's pretty much how the process works. There's a lot of little things that have to be done, but your realtor is definitely going to walk you through the process. So it is not like just going to an apartment you see you like. You could show your pay stubs. Hey, I do make this money. Did a little background check, whatever, 1, 2, 3. All you're doing is signing the lease and moving in. Like, it's a lot that goes into this. And then at the closing, once all the paperwork, the reports and all that stuff is in there, then it has to go to the county. So the county is a local government. The local government, they basically record everything. So it's going to go in land records. So it's going to show that you are now the owner of this property. And Even though it's public record and it's annoying, it's really for your protection, honestly. So nobody can pop up and say, oh yeah, I own that home. No, it's public record. It's on file. This is mine. I am superior. I own this. I am the sole owner. Ain't nobody else on here. I already did my title inspection, and don't play with me. Personally, I don't think that I really am interested in buying a home at this time. It is a big commitment. Imagine buying a $20,000 car, but then you now bought a $300,000 house. Like, that's a lot of debt to take care of. And a lot of people work for 40 years and they get a 30-year loan in their home. And some people refinance, which starts your time over. You done already got 10 years in. Now you back starting at square one. Now you got 30 more years on your house. I don't want to discourage anybody from buying a house. It is a beautiful thing to have. It's the American dream. A lot of people get a house and they don't pay it off in full. They decide they want another house and another house. But it's very costly, aside from just moving into an apartment and you can kind of move around once your lease is up. It's a lot of money that goes into being able to move from house to house. Believe me. House is more so permanency. And it's good, you know, once you do pay it off, and if you have children, it's really nice that they can have something that they can own once it's paid off in full. If you ever, some people die and their house is still not paid off because it's a lot of money. Like $300,000, $500,000, $1 million, that's a lot of money. This is part of my process as well, like growing and learning and becoming more knowledgeable to make sure that I'm making the best financial decisions. So I hope this video did help you the way it helped me.